This is what the American Fascist Party does. This is what they've been doing for 35 years. And it's not going to stop. As long as there is an American Fascist Party, a.k.a. Republicans, sure. As long as there's an American Fascist Party, this shit will continue. And what happened today is just further proof of how over the top they've become. So there's Peter Strzok, and I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. I thought it was Strzok, but ooh, all of a sudden everything got dark. Oh, I see. Hold on a minute, would you? Better? Better. Peter Strzok, we'll say Strzok, FBI agent. So the House Judiciary Committee, along with the, what was the other one? The Government Reform Committee, House Government Reform Committees. Yeah, they ought to reform themselves out of goddamn existence. They decided to hold a joint session under the control of this crazy man. What's his name? Who is the chairman? I mean, I have seen some out-of-control fascists before. But this guy, who was it? Well, you probably saw it, so you know who I'm talking about. But the chairman of the committee was such a shithead. For example, if you watched any of it, you saw these these fascists giving Peter Strzok just old Billy hell, and Peter Strzok giving it right back, especially to that evil little child molesting cover-upper Jim Jordan from Ohio. That miserable son of a bitch. What is wrong with him? I don't think I have ever seen any member of Congress who was so fucked up as Jim Jordan. He lies constantly, especially about the scandal now that probably is going to bring him down. One can hope. And that was his cover-up. His cover-up of the sexual harassment that was perpetrated within the Ohio State University wrestling team. Them again. Anyway, this double committee of morons on the fascist side immediately turned this into a shouting match before the goddamn thing even got started. A shouting match over the rules. There are no rules anymore. There are no rules. The only rules in the House and or the Senate are the rules that the fascist party leadership makes up as they go along. The Democrats are still laboring under the misperception that the rules that have been in place through agreements among the two, between the two parties for a century, or agreements written into the Federalist Papers or someplace. I don't know where the hell it would be written. But the Democrats still think those rules hold. Yeah, they don't hold. As the Washington Post reported, the mutual contempt felt between Republicans, a.k.a. fascists, Democrats, and their star witness, Peter Strzok, was palpable from the very first question put to Strzok. His conduct, Strzok's, as the lead agent on FBI probes of Hillary Clinton and the Trump campaign, have been sharply criticized by internal Justice Department investigators. Gee, there's a surprise. The Goblin, Jefferson Beauregard Sessions III, who is the chief law enforcement officer in the United States. Oh, God help us. Well, not God help us, but somebody help us. The chief law enforcement officer in the United States has led the charge to get rid of people within all the different branches, sub-branches of the Justice Department who might believe in justice. So yes, the joint hearing before these two committees was a veritable showcase of the chasm that now exists regarding the FBI. Republicans repeatedly bashing the FBI's leadership as having engaged in politically motivated investigations. Horseshit. But that plays for the dummies back home, who these American fascists are hoping going to reelect them come this November if they're up for reelection. And they probably will. Don't get your hopes up, truth seekers. We live in the fascist, soon to be the fascist states of America. I'm sorry to overwork the word, but if you can find evidence to the contrary, I'd love to hear it. I've made that offer 50 times in the past 6-7 years. Never had anyone challenge it, and probably won't. Now, the attack led by the fascists was not just on the FBI, but also on Robert Mueller. Of course, look, the Republican Party and every one of those devils that sat in there today, when it looked like Trump was going to get the nomination, and after he got the nomination, every single one of those devils denounced Trump and said if he had a streak of decency, he would get the fuck out of the way and let a real Republican run in his place, not because they thought Trump was an asshole. They're all assholes. But because they thought Trump would be beaten badly by the evil Hillary Clinton. Now, what these members of Congress, of course, did not know was that Trump and Putin had worked out a deal where Putin's so-called intelligence services would penetrate our electoral system and our social media system to the point where in 3 or 4 key states, Trump would pick up enough votes to give him the electoral college votes from those states. So even though Hillary won the election by 3 to 4 million votes, it didn't matter. Trey Gowdy, who is chairman of the Oversight Committee, not the Judiciary Committee, but the Oversight Committee. He started the first fight when he asked Strzok how many individuals that he, Strzok, interviewed in the first week of the Russia probe in the summer of 2016. Strzok replied, quote, "I will not, based on direction of the FBI, answer that question, because it goes to matters which are related to the ongoing investigations being undertaken by the special counsel's office," end quote. Now, how many times have you heard a fascist sitting in the witness chair being questioned by Democrats who say the same thing, only with no basis in reality? They just make shit up, but I'm sorry, I can't answer that. How many times have you heard, well, I can't answer it because it's part of an ongoing investigation? 1,000? 10,000? But when there is truly an ongoing investigation, and this FBI agent says I can't answer because it's an ongoing investigation, pieces of shit, like pointy-head Trey Gowdy, tries to rip the flesh off of the witness for the folks back home. So Strzok said what he was required to say. I can't answer. And at that point, another one of these pieces of human waste, Bob Goodlatte, a Republican of Virginia, chairman of the other committee that was sitting there, House Judiciary Committee, this little prick interjected and threatened Strzok with a contempt citation if he didn't answer the fucking question. Goodlatte said, quote, "Mr. Strzok, you are under subpoena and are required to answer that question." And then Goodlatte accused Strzok of, quote, turning justice on its head, end quote. God damn, I mean, when all this was going on, I was listening to it on Sirius XM in the car. And I was out in Atlanta traffic, which is like saying you were in the way of the run of the bulls at, where do they run? Pamplona? In Spain. I mean, Atlanta traffic, oh, you live in L.A., big fucking deal. L.A. traffic, nothing. Nothing. You live in Chicago? I don't want to hear about it. New York? Oh, try Atlanta. So I'm out in this shit. I'm trying to get someplace. And I'm listening to the coverage on one of the public, like C-SPAN, only on the radio. I'm listening to this stuff. And you ever feel your blood pressure go up? You know, where you actually feel it, where you can feel all of a sudden, you know, you get a throbbing sense in your body. No, I'm not talking about sex. You get a throbbing sense in your body, and your temperature goes up. And if you look in the rearview mirror, you see, oh my God, why are my cheeks so red? That's what happened to me today. Listening to this stuff, listening to these fascists. Do you remember, it wasn't that long ago, when if anybody said anything negative about the FBI or the Justice Department, these demonic Republicans would lose their shit right there. What are you doing? That's the FBI. Remember that? Not anymore.